There comes a point in every single photographer's career where they get their first 85mm lens. They get that lens, they take their subject out, even if they're shooting landscapes or whatever, people, they have a subject, they take that 85, they backlight that subject, they open it up to 1.4, they take the shot, they look at it, and they say, holy shit, I just solved photography. It happened in my career. I'm sure it's happened in yours. But then you move a little bit further down the road. You have a little bit more experience, and you look around at the people who are also doing photography, and you start to realize something. Everybody's figured out that formula. And it can be daunting and it can be depressing because you realize, oh, this is just a formula. And it's beautiful. I mean, it looks good. There's no lie. There's no way to ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you backlight somebody at golden hour with an 85 or a 70 to 200 zoomed into 200 or whatever, or 105, and they're backlit at golden hour and the lens is wide open. It looks sweet. It looks really, really nice. But it's an easily repeatable formula. And so if you rely on something like that for too long, your work becomes stale. Like, the last thing that you ever want to be is somebody who only delivers a certain few good shots in a gallery of very mediocre stuff. And with this whole channel, I really truly care about doing my best to try and teach what I've learned over the years and make you a better photographer, more dynamic, more well-rounded, just a better overall photographer. That's why you don't see me hop on a lot of trends, like, not to get too distracted from the video, but everybody's posting about the Z8 and AI photography stuff. And I was looking through it and I was like, man, where's the really theory? Where's the composition, techniques, stuff like that? The stuff that really is gonna make you better. And I believe that there's a lot of photographers that are still stuck in this. I really only know how to make my photos look really good if they're backlit. Lighting is critical to understand. It's critical to your work and developing a unique style. You need to be able to go into any situation and take photos in any angle or direction of light, in hard light, soft light, overcast skies, bright and sunny, anything. High noon, blue hour. That's the level of photography that is required to really, really have not only a sense of longevity in this game, but a deep satisfaction with what you're doing. Because if you know that your only formula to make spectacular photos is a certain way, to like a one certain way that's kind of figured out, everybody can do this type of photography, and I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying that people become slaves to backlit photos. It literally will determine the whole course of a photo shoot. Whereas it should just be an ingredient in a whole recipe, which is your gallery. As you get further along, you're gonna need to understand angle of light and how to make photos that are flattering and look good and interesting no matter where it's coming from. So I want to share with you guys like a technique that I started when I first started photography. Actually, once I got a little bit further into it, like maybe 2, 3, 5 years, what I would do is I would come into a new location that I was going to be shooting with my subjects, and the first thing that I would do before I assess the light is I would assess the backgrounds. And so I would urge you to take your clients, or whatever you're doing, even if it's landscapes or something like that, assess the background. You have your subject, obviously that's what you're going to be shooting, but assess what's behind them. Find the best background first, and then look at where the light is in reference. If I was shooting into that background, where's the light? And then go from there. Challenge yourself to walk into a scenario and prioritize the background rather than the light. Now, I'm not saying that this is always what I do now. It's not. A lot of times I prioritize light, but that's only because I'm more dynamic with it. I know how to make things look good when it's flat lit, or 45 degrees, 30 degrees, even kind of off. I have experience with it, but I want the people who are trying to break out of this backlit prison to look at where your background is first, then assess the angle of light, and then go into your composition. if you're going somewhere and your light is coming from like a 45-degree angle, it's coming from the side, okay? It's harsh light. Put them in some scenarios and don't move that much away from it. Keep that light in kind of the same general area, and then have the couples put their face towards the light. Put their face away from the light. Go straight up, go straight down. Have one person blocking, one in shadow, one with hard light on them. Overshoot, and then go back and see what looked good, and do it in sections. So if you started with 45 degrees, then turn so it's flat light, it's straight on their face. Try that. And then, bring them out and shoot another time where it's really like high noon and you have shadows under the eyes and the nose and the chin and stuff like that. You have to start to experiment with different angles. But I promise you that photography can get stale when you start to rely too heavily on certain formulas, because ultimately what any creative process or art is, the fulfillment is in the self-development. People don't really look at it that way, but you almost can't, you're not in control of the creativity that like kind of comes in. It's the only thing that you're in control of is a focus on self-development, and that unlocks different levels. So if you realize that there's a weak spot in your photography where, hey, I'm relying too much on this formula that so many other people have figured out, I'm gonna try and put them in a scenario where, I don't see the light's coming from an angle I don't see very often, or I know that I'm weak in this area and I get overwhelmed and I can't seem to make it look good. I'm gonna practice. I just want you guys to break out, and I wanted to talk about this. Like, I haven't made a video in a while, and it's because we're in the middle of like wedding season. Everything's insane. We just had our most busy May month ever. Sarah and I both have poison ivy right now. It's just like overwhelmed. But I saw all these like trending like YouTube videos about the Z8 and the AI stuff, and I'm like, man, I need to talk about some technique stuff for YouTube. I want to talk about what's actually going to make you a better photographer, which is light is so critical to your style and the fun and the magic of photography. It's light and shadows. So don't rely just on backlit photos because it's easy. I promise you, there's a whole nother world out there. So this is just kind of a short video that I wanted to touch on. Hopefully you guys like the new setup here. Pearl Images got a new office space, so I moved out of the old one where you see all the original monochrome memoirs in the basement. Like, I set it up in the new office space, and there's a ton of windows. It just looked different on the vibe. So we're in the Perla studio right now, where Sarah does all her boudoir stuff, and we come here to practice lighting and different techniques and everything. So I figured I'd start making videos in this space. I really like the vibe in here, and I hope you guys do too. So if this video helped or made you think or anything like that, just drop in the comments and let me know. It's so good to be back making videos for you guys. Hopefully this was something that was helpful and made you think a little bit different about your own work. If it was, let me know. And until the next video, my friends.